Behold, the divine light guides us all.
Psalm 145. I will extol thee, my God, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. Every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. One generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty, and of thy wondrous works. And men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger, and of great mercy. The Lord is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Lord, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom, and talk of thy power, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts, and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. The Lord upholdeth all that fall, and raiseth up all those that be bowed down. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat in due season. Thou openest thine hand, and satisfiest the desire of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all his ways, and holy in all his works. The Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry, and will save them. The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. My mouth shall speak the praise of the Lord, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever. Show my love for you.
Abanawa, Shabash Shemayim, Kodash Haya Shemka, Yahweh Malakwithka, Taba'a Ratazaka, Haya Aisha Ba'arataza, Kawa Haya Bashemayim, Nathananawa, Lakam, Kal Yuwam, Wasalaklanawa, Kawabwat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kawabwati Nawa, Wala'a, Tabaya Anawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Haushai Nawa, Mayan, Rai Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha Allah, Wahata Ba'arath, La Iwalamium, Aman.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakabadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers and listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. Now I want to get into today and dealing with leading up to the flood, and righteousness preserved, in the midst of wickedness. Okay, going into that lineage of the sons of God. All right, that the Lord will always preserve, and keep intact for the sake of righteousness. Okay, and throughout, history, the earth, will reach a state to where the Lord will have to intervene in a major way and judge. Okay, and the two most okay, famous, okay, of the Lord's judgment, okay, dealing with the flood, okay, and Sodom and Gomorrah, okay. You also have, the judgment dealing with Egypt, you see, and it was all centered around, preserving their righteous line, judging wickedness on mass scale and preserving a righteous line, okay, during the time of the flood, okay, Noah was the Lord preserving their righteous line, you see, during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, okay, what did you have? You have Abraham around that time, okay, he was preserved, you see, then through Abraham you have who? Isaac, right, then Jacob, and then you have the 12 tribes, okay, and of those 12 tribes, through Judah, you have Yahweh Shai, which was the way back for all right, tribes to get back to righteousness, okay, beginning with the elect. Okay, so when you read the Bible, it's a continuation, okay, of the story of the sons of God, okay, from Genesis all the way to Revelation. You see, when you talk about, those 12 gates in the kingdom with the tribes of Israel on their gate, well, that's their perfection. That's the sons of God in their perfection and their rulership, okay, at the end of this age. You see, and wickedness has run its course to the point of judgment once again. And we're going to show, all right, we're going to show you. Let's go here. Let's get some precepts, and then we'll, go through, okay, and walk this thing down. Now, this is Ecclesiastes 1:9 said, history merely repeats itself. It has been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Okay, nothing under the sun is truly new. These things that we're seeing now have happened before. Okay, well, we in now, and Yahweh Shai, he made that statement. Okay, when you go to the book of Luke, chapter 17, because people are back. Spirits, are reincarnated. Okay, kingdoms are reincarnated. Okay, because the kingdom consists of people. All right, so when it speaks about spiritual, when it talks about the daily wound being healed, speaking of the Greco-Roman Empire, okay, for those same spirits that was around during the Greco-Roman Empire time, those spirits are back doing the same thing that they did back then. That's why nothing is new. Okay, so the spirits of these certain kingdoms come back, all right, and the spirit of certain kingdoms come back, all right, to the left-hand side. Okay, as the devil, he taps into all the witchcraft, okay, of all the ancient kingdoms, all the ancient empires of old, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, okay, and these Edomites are, okay, their Greco-Roman society coming back, okay, the spirit of Sodom, the lewdness, they revived their spirit back in the earth. So the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah is in the earth, okay. But when you go to Luke 17:26, it says, when the Son of Man returns, it will be like it was in Noah's days. Okay, so this same atmosphere of the time of Noah is set again. Okay, we're going to go into it and you're going to see that it's identical. Okay, the days before the flood, okay, it's just like the days before this Third World War and the return of Yahweh Shai. Okay, so it says when the Son of Man returns, Yahweh Shai, it will be like it was in Noah's day. In those days, the people enjoyed banquets and parties and weddings right up to the time Noah entered his boat and the flood came and destroyed them all. Okay, and Noah represents the prophets. Okay, because what the scripture called Noah a preacher of righteousness. Okay, when the preacher goes into prophesy, pre going into before. Okay, his chair going to speak or talk to say before. That's what prophecy. That's what a prophet is, to speak before. Okay, so Noah, represents the prophets. Okay, in their righteous way being preserved. So as Noah was preaching and building the ark, okay, life was continuing on. People had gotten numb to the message of Noah. Okay, the sons of God, had went left. Okay, the spirit of Cain, had influenced the earth in a very wicked way. Okay, just like today, the spirit of Esau has influenced the earth in a very wicked way. Okay, and a lot of our people are caught up in the madness, man. Okay, and the prophet has become, background noise to this society. Okay, they're continuing on all the way until, okay, this third world war, it jumps off. Okay, and it's going to eventually go nuclear. Okay, and you're going to have the return of Yahweh Shah and the heavenly host, which is going to be adding fire to the nuclear destruction, man. Okay, so these people, all right, they're going to be continuing on in their wicked day to day. Okay, until that day come upon them of no escape, man. Verse 28, it says, and the world will be as it was in the days of Lot. People went about their daily business, eating and drinking, buying and selling, farming and building, until the morning Lot left Sodom. Then fire and burning sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. The scriptures speak about what just Lot. Okay, scriptures speak about how the angels couldn't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah until he was gone. Okay, just like in this time, okay, America not gonna be destroyed until we on those chariots. As we're going up. All right, the Lord's gonna rain down fire in America. Okay, along with the fire from the chariots, man. You see? So the elect, instead of just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation, the conduct, okay, the behavior, the atmosphere of the wicked of this society, man. Okay? So let's go here. Verse 30. It said, yes, it will be business as usual right up to the day when the Son of Man is revealed, man. Okay? So the same atmosphere of Sodom and Gomorrah, all right, of the days before the flood, that same atmosphere is back in the earth today. Okay? Spirit and the same wicked spirits are back doing that same wickedness, man. 2/3, the sons of God that was corrupted by society at the time of Noah, they're back. Okay, so now when you go here, let's go to Genesis and let's start with Cain and build our way up, okay, until the flood. All right. Now, Cain and Abel, if you can receive it, okay, was a prelude to Jacob and Esau, which they were Jacob and Esau. Okay, and what Cain tried to do was eradicate their righteous line. And there was always Esau's agenda, even going back to the serpent. Okay, he came to Eve, and poisoned Eve's mind because the serpent wanted to get rid of their righteous way. Okay, the serpent always has a legacy of ruining paradise. Cain, what did he do? He came and ruined, society. All right, Esau, from the Renaissance until now, what has he done? He's ruined society. He's tainted and corrupted society, man. Okay, and this was always the legacy of the left hand. Okay, so from the serpent unto Cain and to Esau, they all share a legacy, okay, of ruining the earth and corrupting the earth, man, with witchcraft and violence. You see, immorality. That's the legacy of this devil, man. So when you go to Genesis 4:17, it says, Cain had sexual relation with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Now, this is not the Enoch through the lineage of Seth, the righteous Enoch. All right, this is an Enoch through the line of Cain. All right, because you had the line of Cain and you had the line of Seth leading up to the flood. Okay, and Seth will be the lineage and representation of the sons of God. Okay, and Cain will be the lineage of the sons of the wicked. Okay, so then Cain founded a city which he named Enoch after his son. So now when you get to the point to where they're building cities, they've established themselves. So the lineage of Cain is establishing themselves in the earth. Okay, Enoch had a son named Arad. Arad became the father of Mahijal. Mahijal became the father of Methuselah. Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Lamech married two women. The first was named Adah, and the second was Zillah, and gave birth to Jabal, who was the first of those who raised livestock and live in tents. Okay, so now you got agriculture. Okay, you got cities, you have agriculture. All right, so the line of Cain is establishing himself in the earth. Okay, it said his brother's name was Jabal, the first of all who played the harp and the flute. So you got music, entertainment. Okay, so you got cities, you got agriculture. Okay, food supply. Now you have harps and flute. You see, entertainment. Okay, and it says Lamech, others' wives, Zillah, gave birth to a son named Tubal Cain. He became an expert in forging tools of bronze and iron. Okay, so Tubal Cain became an expert in forging tools of bronze and iron. Okay, and what do you think he was making? All right, you know he was making what, weaponry, because you go into you as you read on. Okay, well this shows you what they're engineering now. Okay, they're establishing cities. They have entertainment. Okay, agriculture. So this is the sons of Cain, the lineage of the wicked, establishing themselves in the earth, man. It said one day Lamech said to his wives Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. Listen to me, you wives of Lamech. I have killed a man who attacked me, a young man who wounded me. Okay, so he's bragging. Okay, about killing. Okay, so he was wounded, so had to get into it. Okay, he was attacked, he was wounded, but the fact that he was able to kill a man, and brag about it. Okay, and then he even goes further, say if someone who kills Cain is punished 7 times, then those who kills me will be punished 77 times. Okay, so not only is he in the spirit of casual, all right, killing, you see, no value for life, okay, but he's boasting in, look, if Cain is avenged 7-fold, I'm avenged 70 and 70-fold. So you see what? Degeneration. You see his lineage getting worse, being more proud, more arrogant, more rebellious. Okay? So when you read, all right, the book of Genesis from chapter 4, verses 17 through 24, you're seeing the lineage of the wicked establish themselves and they get worse. They're getting worse. We're going to go into that. I'll pull something up on the chat. Now, when you go to verse 25, it says Adam had sexual relation with his wife again, and she gave birth to a son. She named him Seth, for she said, the Most High has granted me another son in the place of Abel, whom Cain killed. Okay? So Cain lineage, they was known killers. Okay? And Seth was a compensation for Abel. And through Seth was a continuation of their righteous way. Okay, that's why you go here to verse 26. When Seth grew up, he had a son named Enosh. And it said, so like at that time, people first began to worship the Lord Yahweh by name. Okay, so now you have righteousness being preserved, okay, through the lineage of Seth. The right way is now being preserved, okay, in the earth amongst the wickedness of the influence of the lineage of Cain. Okay, this is what we're doing today. We're preserving a righteous way in the midst of wickedness, man. Okay, so let's go here to the next chapter. Let's go here to the next chapter. Um, so let's go here to verse 5. Now you're going into the sons of God through Seth. Okay, and when you get down, okay, this is Genesis. All right, 5:21 says, when Enoch was 65 years old, he said he became the father of Methuselah. And after the birth of Methuselah, Enoch lived in close fellowship with the Most High for another 300 years, and he had sons and daughters. Okay, so the sons of God was a nation at this time, because it's going through this lineage. Now it's tracking, a certain line of men that preserve their righteous way. Okay, but they was having sons and daughters for 300 years, man. Look how many sons and daughters Jacob have, okay, in 40 years. You see? So how much more these men, in a much stronger state, okay? It doesn't go into their wives, but you see? But that was multiplying, man. So the sons of God was a nation in the earth. All these men having all these children for, hundreds of years. Okay? But there was a specific lineage, okay, what the Lord was dealing with to preserve righteousness, man. So Enoch lived in close fellowship with the Most High for another 300 years, and he had sons and daughters. It said Enoch lived 365 years. So like he said, walking in close fellowship with the Most High. Then one day he disappeared because the Most High took him. Okay? And one day he disappeared. He was translated. Okay? And he was in the midst of a society that was being influenced by the sons of Cain. Okay? And he was part of that lineage that was preserving that way. So you go to this word walk. So he was walking in close fellowship, which we've begun to walk in close fellowship with our power through Yahweh Shai in these times. All right? So you go into the word walk, and then Enoch. Enoch means dedication. Okay, dedicated. When you get Hanukkah, what they call, all right, Hanukkah in the Hebrew. You see? So that word halak in Hebrew, it says to die, to live, the manner of life. Okay, the manner of life. So he was in fellowship with the Most High through his manner of life. We're in fellowship with our power through his son Yahweh Shai, through our manner of life. Okay, the righteous way has been revived in the earth. Okay, so we represent our story is linked, okay, to Seth, okay, went to Abel. Abel, was received, his sacrifice was received, acceptable to the Heavenly Father, as a priest, okay. So we're represented through Abel, okay, as the Lord is accepting our sacrifice in the spirit. We have Seth, okay, was a continuation of the sons of God, okay, and through Seth and his son Enosh, you will have men to begin to call on the name. You have that lineage, Okay, begin to call on the name. Okay, reverence. Okay, Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. Okay, just as we're doing today. Okay, Noah, what was Noah? He was preaching and building. We're preaching and building. Okay, as we're prophesying, we're building up. Okay, the church. We're building a hedge. The boat was a hedge from the coming destruction, from the wrath of the Lord. Okay, and the elect is being built up to go into those chariots, man. Okay, that ark is flying this time. Okay, we have it's going to be a higher glory of salvation than the ark. Okay, then Enoch, all right, which let's go into Enoch. Let's get this in Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go into Enoch. Because of the Apocrypha, it'll go into more into depth on certain things, okay? Certain stories, okay? You can go to the Apocrypha and get a little more depth, okay? Now, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, and it goes into the environment, the atmosphere surrounding Enoch, all right, who stayed dedicated to their way, using close fellowship with the Most High, all right? This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, in verse 10, it says, He, and this is speaking of Enoch, pleased the Most High and was beloved of him. So that living among sinners, he was translated. Yeah, speedily was he taken away, lest that wickedness should alter his understanding and deceit beguile his soul. Okay? So he was among sinners. Remember, you go into the lineage of Cain, what they was into. They was building cities, so they had influence. Okay? It was into to ironworks, okay, the music, the food, okay. So they had influence, and by the time you get to Enoch, okay, this is the atmosphere. But Enoch was beloved; he was pleased because he was dedicated to their righteous way in the midst of their wickedness, man. And Lord, will we are pleasing to our power to where we're translated, man, on those chariots. Okay, in the midst of this wickedness, man. It said, yeah, speedily he was taken away, lest that wickedness should alter his understanding or deceit beguile his soul. Okay? Because wickedness was beginning to corrupt the whole earth. Okay? Wickedness was beginning to corrupt the whole entire earth, man, the known world of that time, the society of that time. Okay? It said, verse 12 said, for the bewitching of naughtiness doth obscure or confuse things that are honest, and the wondering of concupiscence doth undermine the simple mind. All right, so it was lewdness. Okay, so the Lord had to remove Enoch from that situation so he wouldn't be tainted or corrupted, man, because wickedness has become the normal. Okay, as we're getting closer and closer to the flood, wickedness was becoming more normalized, just like today. Okay, it says he being made perfect in a short time fulfilled a long time. Okay, so Enoch, had a perfect love for righteousness, man. You see, his mindset was geared on righteousness, regardless of what the environment was. You see, the Lord saw it fit to get him out that situation, them circumstances, man. Lord, will he see it fit for us to be extrapolated, man, from this wicked environment, man. Okay? And as he extrapolates the elect, all right, because Enoch represents the elect that stay dedicated to righteousness in the midst of wickedness, man. And the Lord intervened. Okay? So, Lord, will we stay dedicated? We endure until the time appointed. Okay? And we'll deliver at this place is going to be judged. Okay. It says, he being made perfect in a short time fulfilled a long time, for his soul pleased the Lord. Therefore hasted he to take him away from among the wicked. Okay. And Yahweh Shai is coming, all right, to hastily take away his elect from amongst the wicked, this wicked society. And he's going to judge it. America's going to be a desert. He's going to wage war around the militaries of the earth. This the people saw and understood it not, neither laid they up in their minds that his grace and mercy is with his saints, all right, and that he had respect unto his chosen. Okay, just like they're not going to understand in this time the deliverance, the glory of the deliverance that's coming to his people. Okay, because they know how these people have no idea that the sons of God have been revived in the earth. They don't, look at us and see, the lineage of the sons of God being restored back in the earth. Okay, the Lord has raised up his people. Okay, the Lord is dealing with his chosen again. You see, people don't see that. Okay, we just niggas with Bibles, frustrated niggas with Bibles. Get a job, nigga. Okay, nigga just angry. nigga just angry at the system. That's what they see. All right, they don't understand. Okay, the power of what the Lord is getting ready to do. They don't understand. All right, the severity of what's getting ready to happen in the earth is transition. Okay, from Esau into Jacob, they don't understand. This is what the earth is being prepped for. All right, this last transition. Okay, from the wicked being in authority and having influence in the earth to the righteous. Okay, the sons of God, their chosen lineage, the Israelites, beginning with the first fruits and the rest of the elect. Okay, are getting ready to be taken away and changed. Okay, as this current age is going to be destroyed. Okay, it's going to be judged. You see? So going from there, let's go back to the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter. Now, when you jump down, all right, Methuselah, following this lineage. So when you get down to Lamech, okay, it says Lamech named his son Noah, for he said, may he bring us relief, okay, or comfort, all right. Noach goes into comfort. May he bring us relief from our work and painful labor of forming this ground that the Lord has cursed. Okay, and that curse came from what? The fall of Adam. Okay, so it was a lineage as you go through Seth, all right, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, okay, so forth and so on. Well, this line was trying to get back into the favor of the Most High before the fall. They was laboring to get back to their favor. Okay, because this curse, okay, is it was told Adam he will have to, toil and labor and eat through the sweat of his brow. Okay, well, there was a curse that came from the fall. With the serpent, brought to Eve, Eve brought it to Adam, and you had the fall of the sons of God. Okay, so you had a lineage through Seth. Okay, the sons of God through Seth. They was fighting and laboring to get back to their glory, man. Okay, but the way back to their glory was always preserved for Yahweh Shai. All right, to set the precedent for us to begin to get back, to favor with our power. Okay, so through Noah, righteousness will be preserved, and by the time you get to Genesis the 6th chapter, okay, not only was the sons of Cain, okay, moving in wickedness, but the sons of God, okay, began to move in wickedness outside of Noah. You see, this is Genesis 6:1. It says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters was born unto them, that the sons of God, all right, Israelites, man, saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Okay, so they began to take on wives, from amongst these other lineages of these heathens. And what happened? They began to be corrupted by the way of the heathen, which the heathen, okay, was being influenced by the sons of Cain. Okay, and wickedness and violence, lewdness. You see, so the sons of God became corrupted outside of Noah. It says, "In the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years." And the Lord began to cut down the lifespan of man. Okay, because men were becoming more and more corrupt. All right, there was no need for these niggas to live, 600-700 years. All right, because men were getting worse. The earth was getting worse. The earth was being influenced by wickedness, man. Okay, it says these were giants in the earth in those days. All right, now this wasn't literal giants. Okay, this goes into the fallen ones, man. And we're gonna get it. Okay, it says, and also after that, when the sons of God, so the giants and the sons of God are the same people. Okay, because it's the sons of God that fell from their status. Okay, it says, came in unto the daughters of men, and they bear children to them. The same became mighty men, all right, which were of old, men of renown. Now let's go to this word giants. All right, I'm gonna deal with the root words. So you go here to the word giants on the poly in the Hebrew, Napayal in the Hebrew. Okay, you go here to Nepal, and what it goes into. It says what to lie down, to be cast down, to fall. Okay, so it says giants, but it's speaking of the fallen ones. Okay, to overthrow. Okay, and our disobedience will always overthrow us, man. You see, to fall, man, to overthrow, to make the lot fall, to assign by lot. So we fail, to cause the fall, to waste away, to be inferior to. Okay, so we became inferior by following, okay, the other nations, man, following another way. Every time we follow these heathens as a people, we will become degenerate. Look at us today, following after Esau and these heathens. What look at us today. All right, our people are wasting away. Okay, our people are getting worse in this system. They mingle themselves, okay, amongst the sons of men. Okay, so the sons of God, when they would mingle themselves amongst the sons of men, they will fall away. Okay, so those giants are the fallen ones, the sons of God that fell, okay, because of disobedience. Okay, so you go here to the book of Psalms. All right, let's get this in the book of Psalms 82. Psalms 82 and verse 6, it says, I have said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Okay, but you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Okay, so you go here have said you are gods, the sons of God. Okay? The Elohim. Okay? Go into the word fall. It's the same word, same root word for giants, which is Nepal. Okay? The same word to be cast down, to fail. You see? To overthrow. Okay? So this was the sons of God in the fallen state by the time you get to Genesis the 6th chapter. Okay, and it was only through, all right, it was only through Noah was righteousness preserved. Okay, but all the sons of God had became tainted and corrupted. All right, with the current world at that time, the current age, which was heavily influenced by Cain. Okay, the lineage of Cain. Okay, just like today, the earth is heavily influenced by who? The lineage of Esau, man, the wicked one. Okay, so you go here to let's go back to Genesis the 6th chapter. Okay, I want to tie it in with some history from the chat. Okay, now so by the time you get to Genesis the 6th chapter, it says, "And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will overthrow man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them." Okay? Now, as the Lord said, it repented him that he had made man. Okay? The way and the corruption wasn't a surprise to the Most High. Okay? Remember, the Most High played all these things out from the beginning. Okay? So it wasn't that the earth surprised the Most High. Okay? They had just made it to the point of judgment. Okay? These judgments was already established before the foundation of the world. All right? And people had just made it to this point. Okay? This was the will of the Heavenly Father. He wanted to play out just like this. But then he wanted to what? Preserve a righteous way in the midst of it. Okay? So it says, verse 8, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, man. Okay, which is a representation of the remnant. Okay, so the Lord is allowing this wicked build up once again, but grace to be on the remnant. Okay, and this is the last time the Lord is going to allow wickedness, okay, to reach this point in the earth. You know, and this is our last time being refined. Okay, through affliction, through suffering. This is our last time falling away. So it's always a build up to the Lord's end game. Okay, and this was a part of the process, man. Okay, and you can receive it or you can't. All right, so these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with the Most High. The same report that Enoch had, showing that he was following their way. And through particular men, righteousness was preserved. Okay, it says, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, and it will be through what? The lineage of Shem, which is the name, goes into name, in which the name of the Lord will be preserved in the earth. Okay, it says the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence, and the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon earth, man. It had to be judged. It was a time for this place to be judged. Okay, the earth had made it to the point to it can go any further without being judged. And this is what We're rapidly approaching now. Okay, the earth is reaching a point to where it has to be judged. Okay, so when you go, let's go here. Let's pull this up in the chat. All right, so I asked the chat, I said, what could be extrapolated from Genesis chapter 4, okay, and 16 through 24, about the state of society and the influence of the sons of Cain? Okay, Genesis 4 through 16 through 24 gives a compact but telling snapshot of early post-Eden society, especially through the line of Cain. A few things can be drawn out about the state of society and influence of Cain's descendants. Okay, it says society is advancing but morally deteriorating. Cain's line shows rapid cultural and technological development. City building. Cain builds a city, suggesting permanence, organization, and social structure. Specialization of labor, all right, nomadic herding and commerce, music and arts, Tubal Cain, metalworking, tools and weapons. Okay, this implies a society that is innovative, creative, and productive. Okay, does this not link up with today? A society that's innovative and advancing, but morally deteriorating. Okay, you have all this technology, but then you have an alphabet community. Okay, you recognize, okay, same-sex marriage, but you have all this technology. Okay, plastic surgery, and you see all these different things that these devils, this technology the devil has is innovative. Okay, but the earth is getting more and more corrupt. All right, it said, but there's a sharp contrast. Moral progress does not match technological uh, progress. Okay, and see, people look at technological progress and they look at Esau as having the way. He's worthy to be followed. He can do no wrong because of technological progress. Okay, because of innovation, because society is advancing technologically, is decaying morally, or because of technological process, all right, progress, people look at this man as having a way. Okay, he said violence becomes normalized and even celebrated. Violence becomes normalized and even celebrated. Okay, Lamech is the clearest window into a moral state of society. He boasts about killing a man. He escalates Cain's vengeance. Okay, he boasts about killing a man and he escalates Cain's vengeance. Okay, so violence is not only normalized, it's even celebrated. Don't you have a whole rap genre? Okay, that's dedicated to violence. Okay, the whole rap culture is dedicated to violence. You see, whole hood culture, and then not only Jake, but don't you have a constant war? Then the United States government boasts and going kidnapping the president and doing the airstrike, killing civilians. Okay, what's going on with Gaza? Okay, aren't they boasting in violence, man? Okay, from the leaders to the common man, there's a boast, a celebration of violence. You see, it said this is huge. Violence is no longer regretted as Cain's was, is glorified. Okay, so during the time of Cain, you see, violence wasn't glorified when he what he did to Abel. It was some shame. Okay, he was proud. You know, am I my brother's keeper? Okay, but by the time you get to Lamech, as you go on down the lineage, of the sons of Cain, they are boasting and glorifying in violence, man. It said justice had been replaced by personal revenge. The sanctity of life, all right, had eroded further with each generation. Okay, so justice had been placed by personal revenge, man. And this society is about everyone trying to get their lick back, man. Even if it's not to the point of death. Okay, just a culture where justice is you getting your lick back if you felt some wrong some type of way. Okay, and even to the point of death. Okay, it says society is becoming desensitized to bloodshed, not just committing it, but bragging about it. Is this not the society we live in? Is this not the same atmosphere? Okay, so society is becoming desensitized to bloodshed, not just committing it, but bragging about it, man. Okay, you got Jake at the what Jake at? Jake was at the funeral, not the funeral, the grave site. Now Jake, Jake killed, Jake can unalive the ops and do a music video at the grave site. Okay? So you gotta find one of these niggas, man. I ain't gonna play the sound. I ain't gonna play the sound. All right. So you had this nigga here. All right. And the nigga named Fulio. It's a foolish society, man. Nigga named Fulio. Okay. Nigga from Florida, but he was boasting and what he did to the ops. Okay. So these are the three Jake that he killed. Okay. And he's doing the video bragging about, you see? And there's plenty more. This is the first one to come to mind. And this nigga dead. They shot this nigga up. Okay, but you see he's boasting in these three men. Okay, that he shot up. Okay, this is the society, man. So this is the influence that Cain had on the earth. Now we see the influence that Esau got on the earth, man. Okay, so what not only is violence normalized, but you brag about it. Okay, this is normal. I think Well, Jake in Chicago say smoking on such and such pack. Okay, when they name they ops. Okay, but this is their society, man. Okay, let me see. And Esau does this too. I say the American military. You see Trump, he constantly boasting. Okay, in the force of the American military. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let this nigga play.
As they call them, they use the term sea drugs. The drugs coming in by sea are like 5% of what they were a year ago, less than 5%. So now they're coming in by land, and even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. The land is going to be next, and we may go to the Senate, we may go to the Congress, and tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it. I think, in fact, while we're here, I think it's a good idea, Pete. You go to Congress, you tell them about it. What are they going to do? Say, gee, we don't want to stop drugs pouring in? I don't see any Lawson going. No reason not to. They'll always complain, oh, we should have gone. So we're going to definitely, I'd like to just tell you, let's go. We'll go. We're going to tell them what we're going to do. And I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay? Yeah.
You see that? So from the top government, okay, to straight niggas, the earth is corrupted. Okay? This is the way of this society, violence. This is the language of this current age, is violence, man. People are desensitized to life. They're desensitized to the taking of life, man. Okay, not only do they take it, they brag about it. Okay? And it's plenty more that could be shown. But let's go let's go back to the chat. Okay. So you see, just as Cain influenced the earth, okay, well, we see Esau doing the same thing. All right, and the sons of God, like Fulio, he's a nigga, but through lineage, he's a son of God. Okay, that's how corrupt the earth. This was the condition of the earth before the flood. We're seeing it. We're living in it, just as the days of Noah. All right, so it says society is becoming desensitized to bloodshed, not just committing it, but bragging about it. Power shifts from the Most High to human self-assertion. Cain feared divine judgment. All right, Cain feared divine judgment and protection. Lamech doesn't mention the Most High at all. Okay, this is where we are now, where the Most High is not even reverenced in the day-to-day society, man. Okay, people worship themselves and their ability to do violence. Okay, it said Cain received a mark from the Most High for protection. Lamech claims protection for himself, exaggerating it. What you see that mark is okay, because he was preserved for judgment, man. See, we in this time now where their judgment from the serpent, from Cain, all of it gonna hit at the same time. The Lord has been preserving this man, Job 21. Okay, it says growing human autonomy detached from divine authority, confidence rooted in strength, weapons, and fear, not obedience. Okay, because what do people boast on? Their weaponry. Okay, and their willingness, all right, to kill, to unalive. Okay, it says authority is no longer moral or divine, but force-based. The sons of Cain shape culture, but not covenant. Cain's descendants shape the world, but they do not walk with the Most High. They influence economics, art and music, technology and warfare, urban life, but they are absent from worship, calling on the name of the Lord, which only appears in Genesis 4:26 with self-line. We went through that. Okay, it was through the sons of God that righteousness will be preserved, leading all the way up to Noah. Okay, who was preserved through the flood. Okay, and through his son Shem, all right, Shem, the name of the Lord will be established again in the earth. Okay, so just as Noah found grace in the sight of the Lord, the elect in this time are finding grace as we're beginning to be in close fellowship with our power. Okay, Cain's line equals cultural power, self line equals spiritual, all right, continuity. continuing on in their righteous way. Okay, the Bible isn't anti-culture here. It's showing that culture without righteousness becomes dangerous. Okay, it says a trajectory away from Eden, not back towards it. From Cain onward, you see exile, city building, weapons, escalated vengeance, increased distance from the Most High's presence, increased relying on human strength, and now what he's presenting to you now, AI. Okay? In this society, he's gonna push the Most High to the side, and now it's about AI and his ability to innovate with technology. That's what it's all about now. Okay? So it says answer. It says productive, brilliant, violent, proud, all right, and spiritually hollow. That was the culture set by Cain, the sons of Cain. Productive, brilliant, violent, proud, and spiritually hollow. Is that not the culture of today? Okay. Now I asked it. I said, so Genesis 4:26 and Genesis 5:29 show signs that self-lying wanted to preserve righteousness and connection with the Most High. Would Cain's lying be associated with the cause of the flood? It says yes. All right, so you're reading the text in a very biblically sensitive way. Short answer, yes. Genesis presents self-lying as oriented toward preserving relationship with the Most High. And yes, with nuance, Cain line is part of moral trajectory that leads to the flood, but not the only cause. All right, so you go into it, it said Genesis 4:26, a deliberate spiritual turning point. Okay, just as we've awakened to a literal spiritual turning point. Okay, when the Lord put the spirit on Eli Bivens to go into Yahweh, that was a turning point. Okay, which through that, what you have, our apostles and elders today. Okay, so they're going back to those 350 years where our dead bodies were lying in the streets. Okay, but then their breath of life will enter into them. Okay, so we were spiritually dead. We were spiritually dormant. Okay, when as Yahweh Shah began to be teach, okay, there was an awakening. We came to. The sons of God was revived back in the earth, began to be revived back in the earth. Okay, so the turning point in this time will start with, all right, the beloved Eli Bivens, which was John the Baptist coming back to jumpstart the ministry of the prophets, the sons of God, to call on the name of the Lord. Okay, which is Yahweh, his son named Yahweh Shai. It said this is hugely significant. It marks the first explicit reference to communal worship or public devotion to Yahweh. That's why you got the camps now. Okay, that's public devotion to Yahweh by Shemal. Okay, it says it happens after Cain's line has been fully described. Okay, the text intentionally contrasts Cain's descendants, culture, power, violence, self-descendants, worships, remembrance of the Most High. This doesn't mean self-lying was sinless, but it does mean they were God conscious, covenant oriented, eventually, all right, intentionally preserving a relationship with the Most High. So yes, Genesis is presenting self-lying as a counter current to Cain's trajectory. Okay, and we've awakened to be counter to this current age. Okay, Genesis 5:29. It says hope for restoration, not domination. It said out of the ground that the Lord had cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and from the painful toil of our hands. Genesis 5:29. We read, this is about Noah and is deeply theological. What it shows is self-lying is still thinking in Eden categories: curse, toil, hope for relief and restoration. Okay, they are not trying to master the world through power like city building and weapon making. They are longing for healing of the rupture between the Most High and humanity, and ultimately the Most High and the sons of God. Okay, and creation. Okay, so they wanted righteousness to be restored in the earth. Okay, and when we are in favor with our power, we by default we dominate the earth. But first we had to get okay in good standings with our power before we can do anything. Okay, it says in Cain's line associated with the flood, yes. Okay, it said, but indirectly and representatively, not exclusively. It says, um, Genesis never said the flood happened because of Cain's descendants alone. Instead, it shows a moral infection spreading that Cain's line exemplifies early and vividly. Cain's line sets the pattern: murder, vengeance, boasting, weaponization, normalization of violence. Lamech is basically the prototype of the antediluvian brutality. Okay, it says by Genesis the 6th, corruption is universal. The earth was filled with violence. That's the crucial phrase. Violence is no longer confined to one lineage. Whatever righteousness existed in self-line is now compromised and overwhelmed the sons of God. So Cain line is not the only cause, but it is the seedbed of violence that eventually consumes everyone. Okay? It is the seedbed of violence that eventually consumes everyone. And aren't these nations guilty of partaking, okay, in the wine of Babylon? Okay, which is what? Violence, power, okay, rebellion against Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay, all this within the cup of Babylon. It's that theological big picture Genesis is painting. Genesis isn't doing genealogy for trivia, showing trajectories. Cain's line, unchecked sin, culture without the Most High, power without restraint. Isn't this not Esau today? Okay, this is a culture of unchecked sin, a culture that doesn't reverence the Most High. And this devil has power, okay, and he's not being restrained. He's at constant war. Okay, it says self-line is worship, remembrance, hope for redemption. Okay, by the time of Noah, these lines have intermingled. Righteousness has become rare. Even self-line is no longer preserving holiness effectively. That's why Noah stands out. Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, so by the time you get to Noah, even the sons of God were corrupted by the influence of the sons of the wicked. Just as today, Esau, Edom, the sons of the wicked have corrupted, okay, the bulk of the sons of God and the rest of the world. Okay, but you have a remnant. Noah, the representative of that remnant that's finding grace. Okay, the elect predestined. You see, and now we're in the last time. Okay, well, wickedness will be judged once and for all, and then never rise to have influence in the earth again. Let's get that. Okay, let's go here to let's go here. When you go to Isaiah 14. Okay, so the lineage of the sons of God has always been preserved to eventually, okay, the earth to be restored to their righteous way once and for all. Okay, this is Isaiah 14 and 21. It said, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Okay, and this is speaking of the lineage of the wicked, man. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, man. The legacy of Esau, Edom, okay, will always be he will establish himself. Okay, he will begin to innovate, build cities. You see, and wickedness will become the standard. Okay, That's why what they known as what? The border of wickedness, man. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, the sons of the wicked, that they're their fathers coming back, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities, man. This is it. Wickedness will never have influence in the earth again. Okay? It'll never establish itself in the earth again. You see, the Most High had the end game to everything we see playing out the whole time. Okay, people think it's just random events that's happening. Okay, and the earth is getting wicked, and the Most High, he's winging it, trying to figure out what to do. No, everything we see was planned before the earth was, man. And the Most High always had the end game. Okay, for I will raise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. Okay? And you cut off the son and the nephew, you cut off their lineage. You see? So the sons of the wicked will never be a nation again in the earth. Okay? Because it's through their influence, all right, that the earth goes into complete decay and corruption and rebellion against the Most High. Okay? Esau, he's the ringleader of rebellion against righteousness, man. He set their precedent in the earth. Going back to Cain, going back to the serpent. You see? But now the Lord is finna get rid of this nigga once and for all, that wicked seed, that wicked root. Okay? Let's go here. Let's go to Malachi. This book of Malachi, chapter 1. All right, in verse 4, Malachi 1 and 4 said, wherefore Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts. Okay, so this the wicked seed, the wicked lineage. Let's get this in the NLT. Okay, this is Malachi 1 and 4 in the NLT. Said Esau's descendants, and Edom may say, so his descendants, their wicked line, we have been scattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. So Esau was pushed out of power during what they call the Dark Ages. Okay, but for 1,000 years, okay, the devil was pushed to the side. Okay, the devil, he didn't have any influence or power or authority in the earth for 1,000 years. Okay, but the Lord of heaven armies replies, they may try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Okay, the flood, it destroyed, okay, what the sons of Cain have built up in the earth. They say they what building cities. Okay, ironwork, weaponry, engineering, what they call it, being innovative. Just like today, the devil has built up again, that wicked lineage has built itself up again. Okay, but the Lord always had his intention to throw down. Okay, none of these things are just randomly happen, man. That's why the Lord is telling them what they're going to do and what's going to be the results of it, man. Okay, it said their country will be known as the land of wickedness, and their people will be called the people whom the Lord is angry forever. Okay, so what we're seeing is these devils are rebuilding. All right, they rebuilt, a wicked society just like before the flood. They've established themselves, okay, just as the sons of Cain, okay, which is leading the earth into great judgment. You see? So the Lord, this is the last time of him showing the world what wickedness leads to every time. Okay, and it's through this lineage, okay, of Esau, Edom, that the earth becomes completely rebellious in righteousness, man, against righteousness. Okay, this is every time this devil, this lineage. Okay, these people take the earth. All right, into great rebellion. So when you go to First John, okay, let's get that in a second chapter. First John 2. Okay, this during the time of Rome. First John 2 and let's see. This is First John 2. Okay. And 18. It said, little children, it is the last time. And you have heard that anti-Messiah shall come. Even now are there many anti-Messiahs, whereby we know that it is the last time. Okay, because when the world begins to rebel against Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, against the Most High in righteousness, it always leads to a great judgment. Okay, so the pagan Roman Empire was an anti-Messiah system that was governing the earth. It was innovative, it was productive, it was advancing, as the Romans, but it was wicked. Okay, and then those devils fell. All right, and the Lord allowed them to come back during the Renaissance. Okay, and these devils rebirth their empire being rebirthed in the earth. Okay, only leads to what? The return of Yahweh to judge it once and for all. Okay, it will only lead to the return of Yahweh to judge this place once and for all, man. That's why you go to Joel. Okay, let's go here to Joel. And Joel sums it up. So this devil coming back in power during the Renaissance, okay, was the Lord putting up the last, okay, the last heathens to ever have influence in the world and authority, okay, before it will be given fully to Yahweh Shai and the sons of God forever. Okay, so this is the heathen last hoorah, led by the sons of the wicked again. And he's leading them to the same destruction, man. Okay. Joel 3 and 9 said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So the Lord is stirring up these nations to go to war. Okay? Because the earth has become what? So violent. Okay? So the Lord is stirring up war amongst these nations because this plays a part into the Lord's judgment for these nations, man. To use all this weaponry on each other. Okay? Before he sends Yahweh. It said, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hook into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about till it cause our mighty ones to come down, O Lord, which are the angels. You see, so we're in a time of heavy judgment to where, these nations that were once weak, the Lord has allowed them to build themselves up militarily, man, for the purpose of this third world war. Okay, the war that's going to end all wars, man. Okay, he said, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Okay, so this is the place of judgment for the militaries of the earth. Okay, Yahweh Shaphat, the judgment of the Most High. Okay, because you go here and it was always meant to build up to this point. Okay, it was always meant for this devil to come back in power and build up to this point of judgment, man. Okay, Heavenly Father going to show his power, okay, one more time. All right, so you get Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat. Now, when you go into the root word because there's two words, Yahweh and Shabbat, which is Yahweh's judgment. Okay, because you go into the word Shabbat. Okay, you go into Shabbat in the Hebrew. It says what to it says to decide controversy, to execute judgment. Okay, condemning and punishment. Now you go here. It says a theophanic advent for final judgment. Okay, this is the grand finale. The sons of God. All right, there's a remnant that's going to be, okay, changed, restored. Okay, this is what Noah and their line was fighting for, to be restored. So you got a remnant of their line that's going to be changed and restored. The wicked, okay, is going to be judged. Esau, Edom. He's going to go into captivity, and then he's going to be done away with, never to influence the earth again. Okay, never to lead the earth in wickedness again. You see? So this their final judgment that's being built up. Okay? In this third world's war, which is going to usher in the return of Yahweh Shah. So verse 13, it says, the 12 again said, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge the heathen round about, put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Okay? Just like before the flood, wickedness was great. Before Sodom and Gomorrah, wickedness was great. Okay? So through the sons of the wicked, their wicked line, wickedness has become great in the earth under the Greeks. First Maccabees. Okay, under the rulership of the Greeks, what happened? Wickedness multiplied. That same lineage doing what they always do. Okay, it said multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, man. All right, that final verdict. Okay, all these heathens are going to be judged, their military destroyed, the survivors of these heathens are going into captivity. All right, a rigorous captivity for 1,000 years, man. It's going to be a rigorous, laborious captivity for 1,000 years, man. And at the end of that 1,000 years, okay, Esau, Edom is going to be done away with. Their lineage of the wicked is going to be rooted out the earth forever. Okay, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord, Yahweh Bashim al-Shah, also shall roar out of Zion and order his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake the newts. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel, their righteous lineage. The sons of God, with the daughters and children included, the women and children included of the elect. Okay, so you see that the wicked line is getting ready to be judged. All right, but a remnant of the righteous line is getting ready to be delivered, protected, preserved. Okay, to establish a righteous dynasty forever, man. Because a dynasty is a ruling family. Okay, and Israel is going to be their eternal ruling family, man. You see, it says, verse 17 says, so shall you know that I'm the Lord your power dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. All right, then shall Jerusalem be holy, separate, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. We'll never be conquered again. Strangers won't get to freely move around Jerusalem. That means you're conquered. Okay, so we'll never be conquered again. Okay, as a people. All right. Yahweh Shai is going to be there. He's perfected. Yahweh Shai and his perfection is going to be ruling. The first fruit, they're going to be perfected, ruling. Okay. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop down new wine. And the mountain represents a government. And this new wine is righteousness. Righteousness is going to be the standard. Okay, and the hills shall flow with milk, and the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the fountain shall come forth of the house of Jacob, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Okay, so righteousness, law, statutes, and commandment, the wisdom of righteousness is going to rule the earth, and the earth is going to flourish under this righteous government, man. Those mountains are going to drop down their new wine, man, their new way, okay, which is righteousness in its perfection. Okay, now the heathens, they will never be perfect. Okay, but it's going to be a righteous overtone in the earth. Righteousness is going to be a standard. Righteousness is going to be the tone of the earth. You know, there still need to be judged in particular things, but wickedness will never become a culture. Okay, it'll never be normalized under the rulership of the sons of God. Okay, headed by, the top son of God, Yahweh Shah. It said, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Okay, that violent line. Going back with Cain, he shed innocent blood with Abel. Okay, Esau continues on in that, shedding the blood of the sons of God. Okay, in his quest to eradicate, righteousness, man. Okay, but the Lord's going to put a stop to this man's authority and power. Okay, he said, but Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation, man. Okay, the sons of God going to be fully restored, and their righteous ways is going to continue on generation through generation, man. Okay, so yeah, that's the point. I wanted to get into that, still more to go into, but the point made. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.